Welcome to Money First CEO, the podcast for business owners ready to run their business like a boss and make their money work smarter, not harder. I'm Harmon Johnston, bookkeeper, profit first professional, business coach, and mum of two from Sydney, Australia. I've built a thriving business by mastering money habits and systems that create real freedom. This show will help you take control of your finances so you can build a business and life that truly works for you. Every episode delivers one powerful takeaway you can action right away for more clarity, confidence, and cash. And from time to time, I'll be joined by special guests, fellow entrepreneurs, experts, and real business owners, sharing their money wins, lessons, and insights to inspire your next move. Because when you put money first, you unlock the options and freedom you deserve. So hit follow, grab your coffee, and let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome back to the Money First CEO, where we believe if you put your money first, the rest will follow. We simplify business finances and talk real about making money work for you and not the other way around. Today's episode is a personal one. It's called the CEO Paycheck, paying yourself first without the guilt. Because too many business owners, especially in the early years, are stuck in the mindset of sacrifice first, reward later. And honestly, that can go on for years. But here's the core truth of today's message. You are the most important person in your business. And if you're not paying yourself, it's not noble, it's unsustainable. So let's talk about how we can change that. First, we'll start with the problem. Founders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs are too often the last ones in line when it comes to money. We hear phrases like, I want to reinvest everything back into the business. I'll pay myself when we're more stable. Or it doesn't feel right to take money when I'm still trying to figure things out. Let me ask you, if this was an employee you hired, would you tell them, hey, once the business is making money, I'll pay you? Of course not. So why do it to yourself? And trust me, I did it too when I started out. Because society glorifies hustle culture and sacrifice. Because we think taking a paycheck early is greedy or selfish. Because deep down, we fear not having enough for the business if we take anything. But guess what? A business where the founder isn't getting paid is at risk. Burnout, resentment, poor decisions driven by desperation instead of strategy. You will note if you start paying yourself even a little bit, you will be making better decisions, feel energized, and possibly stop overworking out of fear. Now, this isn't just about cash flow, it's about leadership. Treating yourself like a priority and your business will follow. Another part of paying yourself is you and your business being recognized by others as real, as you are deriving income from it. When I started my business, initially, I was paying myself leftovers. And I remember comments being thrown around every time I had to do something. Oh, you can do that later. You're not getting paid anyway. Why are you working so hard? Why are you even working weekends? Your business isn't paying the bills. I did used to doubt myself if the business was a good thing as I'm not contributing in a financial way, but no one saw that I had the freedom of being my own boss. I loved what I was doing. I had flexibility at home with the kids. I was looking after the house and helping others run their businesses. And something I was so passionate about, I couldn't wait to get up in the morning and start work. But no one saw that. But you know what? It's a human mindset. Most of the times, if you're not being compensated, it's not worth it. I noticed a major shift when I started Profit First and started paying myself a set wage each month. As a family, we could plan by knowing our household income. I could catch up on work on the weekends without any questions being asked. My business was real, as with me bringing money showed that business was sustainable to me and others, which was a big thing. So how do we calculate a realistic starting salary? Let's get into the how, because I know many of you are thinking, that sounds nice, but I can't afford to pay myself. You can if you plan it right. So first, we need to know your monthly revenue. If you're unsure, look at the average income over the last 3 to 6 months. Be honest, not too optimistic, and apply. In this instance, I would suggest to apply the Profit First allocation. Even if you're not doing Profit First, the percentages are a great guide to start off with. So this system has changed the game for me and many of my clients, and here's a simple split for businesses under $250,000 a year. If your business is earning more than $250,000, then I would suggest to go to Google and type in profit first target allocation percentages, and it will give a table with all the different income categories and how much the owners should be paying. And that's a great starting point. So in this instance, we'll use an example of a business earning less than $250,000, in which case the owner should be paying themselves 30 to 50% of the revenue. Because at that level, you are wearing so many hats and doing majority of the work. So you need to be compensated for it. So if you're bringing in $6,000 a month, that's $2,000 to $3,000 that you need to pay yourself. Even if your first paycheck is, say, $500, it's a signal, a commitment. You're saying, I'm building a business that supports me. Now, the other thing that I was doing when I started out is I would pay myself the percentage. And if the business needed the money or we were falling short, then I would put the money back in, because it was telling myself that I was getting paid, but on the other side, I was starting a business that needed investment and I was investing back into the business. So, if you feel guilty about taking money and not having enough left over, you could probably try that as well. So next step is you need to have a separate owner's pay bank account and transfer your 30 to 50% every time you get paid. And don't wait until the end of the month. That's leftover mentality. Start with first. So if your customers pay weekly, then do it weekly, fortnightly, so forth. Or if you want to do it monthly, you can do that as well. I started by adding myself to the wages. So every time I did staff wages, I would pay myself. I started small, but I noticed money left over in the owner's pay account, which meant I could pay myself more. So I gave myself a pay rise, and I continue to this day. Only last month, I gave myself a pay rise, as in my projections, I could see excess funds sitting in the owner's pay account in 6 months. So I was like, why wait for 6 months? Why not just increase my wages so there is no excess and I'm taking home more? So being able to make that decision is so empowering and feels so rewarding. And now we're going to talk about setting a regular payday. This part's crucial. Structure creates safety. So if you've never had a CEO payday, this will be a mindset shift. Think about it. Employees get paid weekly or fortnightly or monthly. Freelancers get paid sporadically. But as a business owner, you get to design your rhythm. Pick a cadence every Friday, 1st and 15th, once a month. Because if you have a separate owner's pay account, you can decide however you want to pay it. But pay. Whatever you pick, be consistent. Creating a routine will help you see yourself as a boss instead of a hustler. If you are doing profit first, then all you have to decide is how to pay the money to yourself in terms of wages, drawings, or director's fees. But money is sitting in the owner's pay, so it takes away the guesswork. It also forces you to look at your numbers. If there is more in the owner's pay than last month, you know that you've had a good month. And if there's less, then obviously not so good. And you can see what happened and try and rectify so you can continue paying yourself the amount you would like. If you would like to give yourself a pay rise, you either have to increase your revenue or look at other accounts to see which one has a buffer. So you can tweak your percentages and start allocating more to owner's pay and see how things go the next month with the changes. Now, let's talk about the emotional elephant in the room. Guilt. I feel bad paying myself when I could hire someone and grow the business. I don't think I deserve it yet. My focus is growth. And with that, more money will come and I can pay myself then. That thinking is a trap. Because if you don't prioritize your needs, your business becomes a burden and questions get asked by yourself and others. Guilt robs you of the joy of your own hard work. You're not taking from your business, you're investing in its most valuable asset, which is you. Sometimes in the early days, I felt ashamed about paying myself more than my team. But after looking at the hours, the pressure, the emotional labor I'm doing, it became clear. This wasn't greed, it was fair compensation. Because if you're always last, eventually you'll just walk away. So what changes when you treat yourself like an employee? Once you start paying yourself like an employee, you show up differently. You start asking, is this tool worth the cost? Do I really need that software or that person? How can I pay myself consistently? You shift from chaos operator to intentional CEO. You stop tolerating late payments from clients, low paying work, discounts. raising your prices in order to pay yourself because your expenses will become real and you have to cover your pay, not just your business costs. This clarity will give you confidence. You are possibly not paying yourself because you are charging less for your work. True example is when you're working too hard and don't have much to show for it. So treat yourself like a real employee and suddenly your business gets real too. Now, wrapping up, let's land this episode with a challenge. So this week, I want you to calculate your monthly revenue, choose your owner's pay percentage, open a separate owner's pay account, and set a CEO payday and transfer funds consistently for 4 weeks. Even if it's $100 a week, the point is momentum. You are not selfish. You're not irresponsible. You are building a business that works because you work. Your energy, clarity, and mental health matters, and nothing builds trust in yourself like seeing your name on the pay line in your bank account. That's it for today's episode of The Money First CEO. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this with a friend who's still telling themselves, I'll get paid someday. Their business and their bank account will thank you. Until next time, pay yourself first, always. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me on Money First CEO. If you got value from this episode, hit subscribe, drop a 5-star review, and share it with someone who's building their business too. All the goodies are in the show notes, and you can find me on socials, more tips and tools to help you. Until next time, keep putting money first, and the rest will follow.